Anthropic just raised $65 billion in a Series H round at a $965 billion valuation, one step from becoming the first AI-native trillion-dollar company, and launched Claude Opus 4.8 the same day, a model that is 4 times less likely to hide its own mistakes than its predecessor. CNN just sued Perplexity AI for copying more than 17,000 stories, videos, and images without permission to power its AI search products, the first copyright lawsuit ever filed by a television network against an AI company. And Perplexity's response was 3 words: "You can't copyright facts." And a new term called RSI, recursive self-improvement, is replacing AGI as the AI industry's defining goal, with Andrej Karpathy, Richard Socher, and a growing number of labs openly chasing the moment AI can upgrade itself without humans in the loop. 3 stories. All of them are about who controls AI, who pays for it, and what happens when it starts building itself. I'm Alex. This is the Read AI. Let's start with the number. $65 billion, Series H, post-money valuation of $965 billion. Anthropic is one strong quarter away from becoming the first AI-native company to cross a $1 trillion valuation without having gone public yet. For context, that puts them ahead of Visa, ahead of Johnson & Johnson, and approaching the territory of Tesla, from a company that didn't exist 6 years ago. The fundraise closes the same day Anthropic launched Claude Opus 4.8. That timing is deliberate. The capital story and the product story are the same story. Anthropic is moving fast, the model keeps improving, and the money is there to sustain both. So what does Opus 4.8 actually do differently? The headline improvement is honesty, and it's more specific than it sounds. A persistent problem across all AI models is that they sometimes convince themselves they've completed work when they haven't. They paper over gaps, skip verification steps, and report success when the underlying task has a flaw buried inside it. Anthropic trained Opus 4.8 specifically against this tendency. The result, the model is 4 times less likely than Opus 4.7 to let flaws in code it has written pass without flagging them. That's not a small change in practice. An agent running unattended on a complex task, the kind of multi-hour, multi-service workflow that Claude Code handles for engineering teams, is only as trustworthy as its willingness to surface its own errors. A model that catches its own mistakes before reporting back is fundamentally more reliable than one that doesn't. The testers reported this consistently. The Cursor co-founder said Opus 4.8 is the first model to exceed prior Opus versions across every effort level on their benchmark. The Devon CEO said it fixes comment verbosity and tool calling issues seen in Opus 4.7 and translates directly into faster capability gains for engineers. The legal AI benchmark was the most striking number. Opus 4.8 is the first model ever to break 10% on the all-pass standard for substantive legal work, the kind of accuracy that translates into how much real attorney work customers can hand off with confidence. 3 new features launched alongside the model. Dynamic workflows, available in Research Preview for Claude Code, allows the model to plan a task, spin up hundreds of parallel subagents in a single session, then verify outputs before reporting back. Code-based scale migrations across hundreds of thousands of lines of code, from kickoff to merge, using the existing test suite as the quality bar. Effort control, a new toggle on Claude.ai, letting users choose how much thinking Claude puts into a response, from faster and cheaper to deeper and more thorough. And Messages API update, allowing developers to update Claude's instructions mid-task without breaking the prompt cache. The fast mode pricing drop is the detail most developers will care about most immediately. Fast mode for Opus 4.8 is 3 times cheaper than it was for previous models, $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output in fast mode, with the standard tier unchanged at $5 and $25. And Anthropic confirmed what comes next. Mythos-class models, currently in limited use through Project Glasswing for cybersecurity work, are coming to general availability within weeks once the cyber safeguards are ready.
The full capability stack of what Anthropic has built is not yet public. Opus 4.8 is the step before the next step. At $965 billion and climbing, investors clearly believe the next step is worth waiting for. CNN filed suit against Perplexity AI on Thursday in the Southern District of New York. The charge, unlawfully copying and distributing more than 17,000 CNN stories, videos, and images without permission to power its AI search products. This is CNN's first lawsuit against an AI company. It's believed to be the first copyright lawsuit filed by any television network against an AI company. And it arrives at a moment when the legal landscape around AI and content is shifting fast. The complaint lays out a specific and damaging sequence of events. CNN and Perplexity were in negotiations last year about a content licensing deal. The talks failed. The parties couldn't agree on terms, including restrictions on how Perplexity's chatbot uses CNN content. After negotiations collapsed, CNN explicitly blocked Perplexity's scraping bot from accessing its content. Perplexity kept scraping anyway. That sequence matters legally. Perplexity didn't just stumble into this content through automated crawling without knowing better. According to CNN's complaint, the company knew it didn't have permission because CNN had told them directly and then blocked their bot and kept taking the content regardless. That's the factual foundation for a willful infringement claim, which carries substantially higher statutory damages than inadvertent infringement. The trademark dimension adds another layer. Perplexity was apparently advertising its Comet Plus subscription tier as offering access to CNN premium content, implying an ongoing partnership that doesn't exist. CNN alleges this misleads users into thinking the two companies have a commercial relationship, which is a trademark violation on top of the copyright claim. Perplexity's public response was 3 words delivered by their chief communications officer: "You can't copyright facts." That's a legally real argument. Facts are not copyrightable under U.S. law, but it's also a selective one. CNN isn't claiming Perplexity stole facts. It's claiming Perplexity copied the specific expression of those facts, the original articles, the video packages, the photographs, all of which are copyrightable. The distinction between an uncopyrightable fact and a copyrightable journalistic work expressing that fact is settled law. Perplexity knows this. The 3-word response is a PR position, not a legal defense. The broader context, Perplexity is also facing lawsuits from the New York Times, Reddit, and Dow Jones, among others. The pattern across all of these cases is identical. Publisher negotiates with Perplexity. Deal falls apart. Publisher blocks the bot. Perplexity continues. Publisher sues. Perplexity says, "You can't copyright facts." Other news publishers, including Time and USA Today, have struck deals with Perplexity, so the company clearly can reach licensing agreements when it wants to. The choice not to, and to continue using content after being explicitly blocked, is a business decision, not a technical inevitability. What CNN is actually arguing is something more fundamental than a licensing dispute. CNN alleges that Perplexity is using AI to scoop up and repackage her reporting, undermining the economic model that makes original reporting possible. The argument, Perplexity's product is valuable precisely because it synthesizes and delivers journalism that other organizations paid for. If the journalism disappears because publishers can't sustain the business of producing it, Perplexity's product degrades. The AI search company is free riding on an ecosystem it's simultaneously destroying. That argument doesn't resolve anything immediately, but it frames what's at stake in these cases beyond the specific dollar amounts. The question being litigated is whether AI companies can build commercial products on top of journalism without paying for journalism, and whether the publishers who create the underlying content have any legal mechanism to stop them. CNN is the first television network to ask that question in court. It won't be the last.
AGI, artificial general intelligence, was the AI industry's defining goal for years. Every lab claimed to be building towards it. Nobody could agree on what it meant. When OpenAI declared they'd achieved it last year, half the field disputed the definition. Now there's a new 3-letter goal, RSI, recursive self-improvement.
and TechCrunch's analysis this week is the clearest account of how seriously the industry is taking it and how far away it actually is. RSI, in basic terms, an AI system that can continuously upgrade itself. Once AI can manage the improvement cycle better than humans, the process becomes a closed loop. The model generates improvements. The improved model generates better improvements, compound indefinitely. Humans become unnecessary, or at minimum, no longer the limiting factor. The people chasing this are not fringe actors. Richard Socher, a prominent AI researcher, launched a company literally called Recursive Superintelligence this month, with RSI as its explicit stated goal. Andrej Karpathy, co-founder of OpenAI and previously leading AI at Tesla, is now working on pre-training at Anthropic while publicly building Auto Research, a project using agent swarms to train language models on simple tasks, making each step available through a public GitHub repo. Adaption, founded by Sarah Hooker from Cohere and Google, launched Auto Scientist, a tool designed to automate frontier model training using agents that make incremental improvements. These aren't hobby projects, they're funded, staffed, and moving. But here's what makes the TechCrunch analysis valuable. It pairs the ambition with the honest accounting of what's missing. One of Disarray's founders framed it clearly. Given infinite compute and an infinite time horizon, you could argue we're already at RSI. The problem is reliability on a finite time horizon with finite compute. The system has to make improvements consistently, without human supervision, without drifting, without accumulating errors that compound into failure modes. An Anthropic internal survey tied to the Mythos preview found that 5 of 18 Anthropic engineers believed Mythos could soon substitute for a mid-level programmer on involved projects, but the same survey identified the weaknesses: self-managing week-long ambiguous tasks, understanding organizational priorities, verification, and epistemics. In other words, everything involved with self-direction, which is precisely the capability RSI requires. Helen Toner from Georgetown Center for Security and Emerging Technology makes the definitional point precisely. Using AI tools to do AI research isn't RSI. It's AI-assisted research, with humans still directing the process. True RSI requires no humans needed, not no fewer humans, not humans reviewing outputs, but humans genuinely out of the loop. The milestone framework from Meter's AGI is the most useful way to think about the distance. Adequacy. The system can produce some AI research after all humans are removed, even if less efficiently. Parity. AI only matches human-only research quality. Supremacy. AI only outperforms human-AI collaboration. Kotra thinks adequacy may already be here or close. Parity is unclear. Supremacy, once parity arrives, she thinks follows within roughly a year, because at that point the compounding loop starts running in earnest. The AI industry spent years arguing whether AGI was 5 years away or 50. The honest answer on RSI is the same. Nobody knows. The definitions are contested, and the people closest to the work disagree sharply on timelines. What's different now is that serious, well-credentialed people are treating it as an engineering problem rather than a philosophical one. Karpathy is committing code. Socher is raising money. Anthropic is integrating the approach to pre-training. The goal moved from theoretical to operational this year, and once something becomes operational, the timeline questions become more urgent, and the answers matter more than they did when it was still just a concept. 3 stories today, and they connect through a single question: who controls what AI becomes? Anthropic just raised $65 billion and launched a model that's more honest about its failures, while signaling that Mythos-class capabilities are weeks away from general release. The capital and the capability are accelerating together. CNN drew a legal line that every media company is watching. AI companies cannot build commercial products on journalism they didn't pay for by taking content after being explicitly told not to. Perplexity said you can't copyright facts. A court will decide whether that's the argument that wins. An AI industry replaced AGI with RSI as its North Star, a goal that's still undefined enough to be a rallying cry and specific enough to be an engineering project. The people building towards it are credible. The distance to get there is genuinely unknown. Control over AI's trajectory, over its capabilities, its content, its ability to improve itself, is the defining contest of this moment. This week, all three dimensions moved simultaneously. Subscribe to the Read AI for just the stories that actually matter. Drop a comment. Which of these three concerns you most? Anthropic at $1 trillion valuation days before a model smarter than Opus ships? CNN versus Perplexity setting the terms for AI in journalism? Or RSI, AI that can upgrade itself, moving from concept to active engineering project? I want to know. Share this with someone who thinks the major AI decisions are still being made slowly. I'm Alex. I'll catch you in the next one.